Hey there, Busy Bee here. I've done a couple challenge runs of Balatro these past couple months, from no joker to only playing one card. These runs were fun and a bit time consuming, but nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to the finale of this trilogy of challenge runs, and I'm convinced there isn't a challenge harder than this in the game. Can you beat Balatro with no jokers or hand upgrades? The rules are simple. I cannot own any jokers at any point in the challenge run. I'm not allowed to buy planet packs, planet cards, use the orbital tag, or the black hole spectral card. This time around, I am allowed to use seeds because this challenge is so difficult, and spending hours and hours and hours on something that's not a skill issue but just re-rolling the odds is just not a challenge. Plus, you can get these seeds naturally, so theoretically, you could roll them at some point if you're lucky. Anyway, those are the rules, so let's begin. Now, I bet you're wondering, what deck are we gonna use this time? Well, the challenge deck is out because any benefits it might have given me the last run doesn't apply anymore because of jokers. Beyond that, theoretically, any deck is possible. But I think for our best odds, we need to make sure that RNGesus shines down on us and gives us a chance at this run. So, I decide to use the erratic deck, which is a silly little deck that randomizes the suits and ranks of the cards. So one game you could have a normal deck, and the next is a boatload of jacks. It's really silly like that. And with this deck, I attempted this for weeks. And the farthest I ever got was ante 5 with the best luck I was able to get. Usually I lost at ante 2 and 4. So eventually I got really tired and wanted to say this challenge run was impossible. But I remember that seeds exist and I can find some of the most popular ones online. Now that's great and all, but that seriously doesn't guarantee anything. Because I bet these seeds are amazing for jokers, but they aren't exactly legal for this run, so who knows if any popular ones would help. But I looked, and I landed on this seed that I'm calling the 10 of Spade deck. Every single card in this deck is a 10 of Spades, guaranteeing the most powerful hand type, the flush 5. Now I hear you saying, hey, that seems overpowered and way too easy to win with. Well, to that I say, that's the normal strategy I went for in every other attempt, and it doesn't matter how consistent your flush 5 is, because if you don't get the tarot you need, or vouchers, at best you'll beat ante 4, and you'll have no chance after that. Plus, once again, I could just naturally roll this deck if I wanted to waste days trying. Now with all that out of the way, let's get it. First blind of the run, and I pick 5 10 of Spades, like I always will in this run, and get an overkill amount of chips. 3,360 is a lot of chips, and will make early game a complete breeze, but don't let that fool you. It is not viable alone in the future. Anyway, there's nothing we want yet in the first shop, so we blitz the second blind. And in the next shop, we buy the grabber voucher, which gives us an extra hand. Nice, that'll be really useful. We also buy a tarot pack and upgrade 2 of our cards with the magician. You know the drill. 1/5 chance for 20 plus mult, 1/15 chance of $20. And other than that, we take on the first boss, the club. Hey look, something different for our first boss. Not that it matters, because we just take it out in one hand, and we don't have any club cards. Moving on. In the shop, we buy the Fool Tarot, but we don't use it yet, as I'm saving its ability for later. We buy a tarot pack and get nothing. Dang it. Anyway, we wreck the next blind with little time and buy the Wasteful voucher. This voucher gives us an extra discard, which I bet you're wondering, why would we even need that in a run like this? Well, because the farther into the run we get, the more upgraded cards we're gonna need to have a chance to survive. So being able to get rid of the cards we don't want will be invaluable. Anyway, we beat the next blind and buy the Chariot Tarot for a nice steal card when needed. Then with the next tarot pack, we upgrade 2 more cards in the lucky cards and take on Boss 2 the wheel.
When I see you again.
The wheel turns 1 out of 7 cards upside down, but this early in the run, it doesn't matter at all, and we just take it out in 1 turn. Alright, next shop, we upgrade 2 cards with the Empress, giving us +4 molt when played. We beat the next blind, and then upgrade our cards again with the Hierophant, which gives us +30 chips when played, and 2 more cards were upgraded with the Magician. We beat the next blind as well, but look at that, we're creeping up not being able to win in one hand anymore. So to be honest, the challenge really begins now. On to boss 3, the Hook. He's here late compared to normal, but because of rolling the 1 in 5 chance, we just wiped the floor with him, netting us 7,500 chips in one hand. Let's hope we continue to get that type of luck. Next shop, and we immediately buy the paintbrush voucher, because having an extra card in our hand is wonderful, and upgrade 2 more cards with a +30 chips. Next blind, we're able to squeak on by in one hand thanks to our card upgrades. We upgrade 2 more cards with the Empress, and hey look, now it's taking 2 hands to take down a blind. And we're only at 7.5% of the chips needed to beat the final boss. No, when I put it like that, this sounds hopeless. Alas, we continue on. We upgrade 2 more cards and move on to boss 4, the Needle. We're only allowed to play 1 hand, and if it's not enough, we just lose. This is at a point where I can beat it, but also if I don't get the cards I need, or just plain luck, it's over. So to play it safe, I upgrade 1 of my cards to Steel, multiplying my molt by 1.5 after the card's played, and it is beaten. That could have been so much worse. Oh, and we also finally used the Full Tarot, which creates the Tarot or Planet card we last used. So we got another Chariot. Yay! Alright, Ante 5. We first upgrade some more cards and re-roll the shop to see what we get. And we got Justice, which turns 1 card into a glass card, making it multiply our molt by 2. That sounds amazing, right? Well, it can also be destroyed with 1/4 odds, so it's also really risky. But still could come in clutch later. Anyway, we beat the first blind in 2 hands, upgrade some cards, and then it takes 3 hands to beat the next blind. Doing this run really makes me miss Planet cards. Alas, we move on to boss 5, the Mark.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier, and I am a fish.
All face cards are disabled when facing them, but, well, we don't have any of those, so thanks to having a steel card in hand, we beat the boss in 2 hands. Alright, we're now in the hard part of this run. Buckle up. The strategy now is to discard any non-upgrade cards until we have a hand that's both upgraded and at least has 1 steel card for the molt bonus. We can't rely on RNGesus for lucky cards. We actually need a plan. There's not much to say about this ante beyond doing that, but we get extremely lucky buying a card pack and get a steel card with a red seal on it. Red seals make the cards replay itself, which means in terms of the steel card, it's effectively 2 cards in 1. That's extremely useful in this situation. Heck, any situation. Time for boss 6, the... Oh crap, it's the wall.
When you come to it and you can't go through it and you can't knock it down, you know that you found the wall, the wall, the wall. No man on earth can make it fall.
Do you see how many chips we need? 80,000 chips? Depending on how this goes, it really tells us if we can beat the run or not. Let's do this. Turn 1, we discard some cards before we play our hand. The lucky triggers, and since we have the red seal steel, we get 27,000 chips. Basically a third of the way, with good luck. Alright. Turn 2, I used the Justice on a basic 10 and turn it into glass, as well as turn another into steel. We play our hands and 39,000 chips. We're almost there, and the glass card doesn't break. Yes! We discard some more and end up with another steel card. Great! We play our hand and we beat the wall with 2 hands left. That's great, the run lives on. Alright, most of Ante 7 is more of the same old upgrade our hand and win a few hands strat, so let's move on to Boss 7, the Plant. Its ability debuffs face cards, so it does nothing to affect us. But we actually have a couple really bad hands early on, so our luck is not good. But fortunately, we end up having the equivalent of 4 steel cards in our hand, but I make it 5 with the Chariot. So because of that, and the glass card, we crush the Plant and the Mulch and move on to the final ante, which we are pretty much all upgraded for, so let's take them on. It's time for the final boss of the game. The boss's ability does nothing to us, thankfully, almost like this game was designed around jokers. Anyway, first turn we play our hand and end up with 13,500 chips. That's okay for a first hand, but we gotta step it up. Next hand is 15,000 and oh dear, this isn't going to be enough. We need to get greedy fast. So we start discarding cards like crazy until we play the next hand. 28,000-ish chips. And now we're over a little halfway to the goal, but only 2 hands left. We draw another steel card, but I know that's not enough. So we turn a basic card to another steel card. I use our last 2 discards and hope that we're gonna be okay. I play the hand and we're at 89,775 chips. We only have 1 hand left to play, so I play it and we won? Oh my god, yes, we actually did it! We beat Balatro with no jokers or hand upgrades. That was an incredibly close ending, coming down to the last hand and all of that. While I still think it's absurdly incredible luck you would need to beat this run with any other deck and seed, this run was pretty much the best setup I could have had, and it was still nearly a loss because of the wall showing up. And if I would have played any worse than I did, it would have been curtains. But hey, thank you so much for watching. This is realistically where my challenge runs for this game end, unless in a future update they add something that piques my interest. Plus, I'm still confident nothing is harder than doing this run, because I'll be clear, if I remove tarot cards from the equation as well, in no world would that run be possible without the most ungodly spectral card luck. And even then, I'm not sure. Here, you want proof? I tried it after this run for the heck of it, and I couldn't even beat Ante 7. You could argue with a different boss I'd win, and yeah, probably. But considering with basically 4 steel cards and a flushed 5 with 5 hands wasn't possible, the odds are completely absurd. If you think it's possible, you try it. I'll watch it. I'll admit defeat if you do it. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and recommend me games to challenge run. I'm always reading the comments. This has been Busy Bee. Peace!